Welcome back, troops. Let's tab 59. So today I want to talk to you about Omaha Beach, one of the two American beaches that stormed on D-Day, June 6, 1944. Now, Omaha Beach was assaulted by two United States Infantry Divisions. The first division, known as the Big Red One, quite famous, battle-hardened, probably one of the most experienced divisions that the United States had on the day. And the 29th Infantry Division, two divisions totaling over 43,000 men. They attacked Omaha Beach. Now the problem they had was, because of the beach defences that the Germans had installed over many years, they knew from earlier reconnaissance that these big structures, metal structures, were designed to be hidden by the water, by the sea, so that when the landing craft come in, they might not see them and they would snarl up on these defences. And so it was decided that they would go in at low tide, so that the tide was right out, and so these obstacles could be identified by the coxswains on the landing craft and they'd be able to avoid them. But that caused a problem in itself, because yes, they could see the obstacles, but now it meant that when they did land on the edge of the beach, they would have to cross 300 yards of open beach to get towards their objective. At the end of that beach, or in front of that beach if you like, once they'd got across that 300 yards, was going to be a large bluff, a large sandbank if you like, where the German defenders were at the top. And that bluff itself was mined as well. So there you go, 300 yards of open beach to get to their objective. But there was another problem. As the landing crafts came in, the sea was quite heavy. In fact, 10 of the landing craft sank. I think it must have been about a platoon strength on each landing craft maybe. So they lost 10 landing craft just coming in. In fact, some of the other landing craft, the only reason they didn't sink was because the American lads in there were bailing the water out with their helmets. Everybody was seasick. Pretty much everybody was suffering and weakened from that seasickness. They got to fight a battle. They're full of seasick. They're getting loads of fire poured on them. They're going to hit the beach, 300-yard crossing just to get to the enemy. But it gets worse. No wonder it's called Bloody Omaha. Because some of the landing craft hit sandbars. So before they even got to the edge of the beach, the landing craft were getting bellied out, if you like, bottomed out on these sandbars. And in turn, some of these sandbars were 50 to 100 yards out at sea. So the ones that got stuck on the sandbars, they've got to drop the ramp doors. The lads then got to get out into the water, maybe neck deep in some cases, with all their kit and equipment. And you can imagine the engineers, the amount of kit they were carrying as well. So now they're wading between 50 to 100 metres in the sea, with the rifles above their head, trying to keep their weapon systems dry, under fire, before they even get to the beach, to then crawl 300 yards towards the bluff. And when they get to the bluff, that's mined as well. I just can't even get my head round how that could have been for them. It must have just been horrendous. So obviously casualties were very, very high on Omaha Beach. Over 3,000 casualties, 777 of which were killed. It took them 11 hours to secure a foothold on that beach. 11 hours of fighting. The German defenders, obviously been there a long time. There's 1,000 or so German defenders in fixed positions. They had mortars, they had artillery, they had fixed machine gun posts. There was all the mines, the obstacles, everything else on top. It just beggars belief. It must have been absolutely horrendous. And of course, if you've seen the film Saving Private Ryan, which I think most of you that have would agree, it's a very realistic, although I've never been to that sort of combat, but it's a very realistic depiction of what it must have been like for those young lads of those two infantry divisions and all the engineers attached trying to get up that beach. So once it had got a foothold, it was then one of the sites to have two mulberry harbours, which have been dragged across the channel. As you know, they built two mulberry harbours there because they didn't have anywhere to bring the follow-up supplies and troops and equipment, etc. So two harbours were built, but unfortunately, 3 days later, after D-Day, D+3, there was the heaviest storm in Normandy that they'd seen for 40 years. And they actually sunk some of the ships to sort of act as a water break, but the Mulberry Harbour was destroyed. And there's still remnants of it out there now. If you're lucky enough to go out there, you get down to OMAHA Beach, you can, at low tide, you can see the remains sections of the Mulberry Harbour. I don't think I can do any justice to these D-Day events that I've been talking about, all the different beaches and the different raids that I've covered. I can't do it justice. As I've said before, I'm no historian. I'm just some old git that tries to pay some sort of tribute to those American lads. Again, if you ever do go out to Normandy, and I can't recommend it enough, when you get to OMAHA Beach to visit it, on top of the beach now is the Americans' cemetery. Now, excuse me having to read because I can't remember all the facts and figures. I'm an old git. So I'll just take this bit here. It's in 1956 that the American cemetery was commissioned, if you like. It was actually completed. And it holds 9,388 burials in that cemetery. Because obviously all the American lads that were dying after D-Day, as the fight was being pushed on, they were all consolidated and buried there above OMAHA Beach. And it really is a sight to see. Again, going back to Saving Private Ryan, the opening scene, not the opening battle scene, but the opening scene where you see a veteran, an American veteran, go out and he finds the grave of one of his comrades. That's actually in that cemetery, and you can just see all the crosses row on row. It's an incredible sight. So that's as much as I can really tell you about Omaha. As I say, I'm not a historian. Obviously, you can go online and see a lot more detail, a lot more history about all the beaches that I've spoke about, but there's some great stuff on there about Omaha. So as I do at all the end of these videos, and this is the last one now on the D-Day mini-series that I've been trying to do, is paying my respects by taking a small toast to the lads of Omaha Beach, our American brothers that fought that day 80 years ago. I don't know how they'd done that. Bloody Omaha it was called. So I'll just take this moment to say, we will remember them. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for those of you that subscribed. It is appreciated. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please consider it. I'm not saying do it. I'm saying consider it. So that's, as I say, it's the end of the D-Day videos that I've done. What I will be doing later on today, we've got commemorations in our village. I'm going to put my best bib and tucker on and go down to the village hall, and I think it's about 9:15 in the evening, we're going to be lighting our village beacon, as many other places are around the United Kingdom, to commemorate it. So hopefully I can make a small video. I'm not saying I can, I'm going to try and do a small video down there of the lighting of our beacon on this, the 80th anniversary of Operation Overlord, known as D-Day. So that's it for now, troops, but till the next time, remember, stay safe and let's tab.